Hi, and welcome to the 01581 Let's Talk. Today's guest will give us an update on the recreation department and all things going on this summer, so you'll definitely want to tune in. And we'll continue our conversation with Connor Schoen from Breaktime. Stay tuned. Hi, and welcome to my guest, Jenn Kirkland.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
So excited.
So Jenn, you're the director of our recreation department. How long have you been here now?
I've been here, this will be my 10th year, which is
Stop
wild.
it. Really? Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
it's crazy. I started as the admin, programmer, and then the director. So yeah, 10 years just flew by.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we love when our employees stay and they like it. And I know sometimes you're in the office, but a lot of times you're out in the fields or on the courts and in the community.
Yeah, that's why it's the best job out there. So, get to be in and out. I know. Right.
So Jenn, you've got a lot going on. This is always every season is busy for you, but summer in particular. What do you want to let our viewers know about?
Sure, yeah. So we're really excited. Summer just kind of snuck up on us. I feel this year, it's already May, but we're getting ready for a great year. We run 4 camp-style programs. So we have something for almost just about everybody. Our camp for our youngest participants is called Pee Wee Playground. It's for kids ages 3.5 to entering kindergarten. So that's a great program. We have a lot of special activities geared for that age group. We usually have a preschool teacher that runs that camp, and the staff are really passionate about working with really little kids, because a lot of those, it's their first time maybe being away from home, so we were very sensitive to that.
It's sort of they need to be comfortable with both the kids and the parents.
For sure,
like,
absolutely,
little,
yes,
right?
absolutely. So we definitely are aware of that. And then our playground camp is for kids grades 1 through 3, and then we have a camp for kids entering grades 4 through 6. That camp, we've kind of learned over the years, they're sort of over, typical arts and crafts and things like that. So we do have 2 full-day field trips for that camp. Awesome. So we go to different places like, Apex, Canopy Lake, things like that, twice a week.
Fun.
Yep.
Oh, they go twice a week?
Twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Yep, 2 full-day field trips.
Oh,
yep.
Fun. Okay.
So we get them out and about. And then our newest camp is Teen Adventures, which is a camp for kids in middle school. And on Mondays, they do a community service project. And then for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, they go on a full-day field trip to various places. So,
boy, that's a lot of planning.
But it's good. Yeah,
that's great.
Yep. And what else do we have? So outside of that, we also offer, we call it our Ranger Sports Camps. So we're really fortunate that many of the varsity coaches from the Westborough High School will run sports camps. So like basketball, tennis, football, baseball, things like that, volleyball, which is super popular. So we have a lot going on.
Excellent. Yeah. And the counselors, how are you staffed so far this year? Is this an opportunity for you to ask for more, or are you in a good place as it relates to camp counselors?
Yeah, we're actually in a really good place. We have a lot of returning kids that come back, and I think we had maybe 8 or 10 openings, but those are just about full.
Awesome.
Yeah, so
congratulations.
Really
Well, that speaks to the program and the experience and,
Yep.
and what they're getting out of it too. That's great.
For sure.
That's great. So I know one of the other programs that you offer that I think that, and really certainly why I wanted to have you on today is really getting the word out about our summer concert series. Because I think some folks are like, I didn't even know that was happening. So what's going on with the concert series?
Yep, so we offer 4 free concerts over the summer. July 11th, July 25th, and August 8th are our night concerts. They're all free, a variety of different performers. But then our program coordinator, Josh, actually added last year a kids concert. So it's during the day on August 1st this year. And it's music with Mr. Vic. He's a really funny guy who kind of sings nursery rhymes backwards in all different ways. And the kids really get a kick out of him. So that's during the day on August 1st.
Great. And those are located where, Jenn?
Oh, yep, Bay State Common.
Excellent, excellent. So we'll our viewers can see that flyer now. We're showing that to them.
Yep.
So we'll make sure that they see that and can jot that in their calendars. And breaking news here, folks. This is the update on Lake Chauncey Beach.
An exclusive.
Yes.
So past 3 years, as people probably know, we haven't been able to open the beach. A couple of years was due to COVID, and last year was due to staffing. We didn't have any. I'm happy to report that I've interviewed now 11 lifeguards, which is 11 more than I have in the past year. So we're looking pretty good to have the beach open. I'm very optimistic, I should say, that we'll have the beach open with staff for at least some of the week. We're still kind of ironing out the details.
Sure.
But
Do you have an anticipated opening time, Jen?
yep, it'll be the last week of June, the week of June 26th sometime.
Okay.
That's my goal.
Excellent. And typical hours of the opening, if you're fully staffed, what is that?
11 to 5.
11 to 5. Okay, super. And what about beach passes?
Beach passes, so it'll depend on how we open, but typically you would be able to buy a beach pass right at the gate. They're typically $55, but if we're not going to be open for the full week, we would definitely reduce that
Adjust
price.
that.
Yeah. for
Okay,
sure.
super. Well, it's a beautiful community asset. I know lots of folks look forward to taking advantage of that. And there's other things to do there at the beach. There's a playground. There's a Gaga ball
Got up
pit.
it, yeah, with the volleyball net up.
Yeah,
Yep.
so lots to do
it
other
is.
than
It's a
just
fun place.
enjoy the water.
For sure.
Great. And I'm sorry, one more update, golf.
Golf,
So Matt, our pro, is, I know I drive by there every day. It's a busy place. It's already open, open to the public, open for memberships.
Absolutely.
Anything else?
Yep. Open to the public, open to memberships. The course it's open 7 days a week. You can make tea times online. You can call Matt at the pro shop and make a tea time. But it's a great place. We keep it in pretty good shape. And,
Yeah, it
it's
looks
good.
beautiful out there.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I know you're busy. Thanks for making time this morning.
Yeah, thanks
And
for having me.
I hope folks check out our amazing rec department. You can view their program online through the town's website. You can also pick up a program flyer, which Jen has here. And at the town hall, there are also copies, I think, at the library, etc. So get involved and take advantage of this great department and their work that we have here in town. And I'll be right back with our next segment with Connor Schoen. Thanks.
Welcome back to the 01581. I'm continuing our conversation here with Connor Schoen, co-founder of Breaktime, an organization dedicated to breaking the cycle of young adult youth homelessness. And Connor, welcome back.
We had this. Thanks so much for having me back.
Yes. So we were talking on an early that is available to viewers so they can catch up about the work of Breaktime. We ended where we were talking about you had talked about kind of the third leg of your program, which is stable orbit. So can you kind of bring us up to speed there, and then we'll move on to the next element.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you so much for having me back, Shelby. And it was great in the first episode to get to share about our model and the work we're doing. And I guess to build off that conversation, I'll share that, like with everything, this was not built overnight. Breaktime, when I started it, as some of you might remember, was actually going to be a cafe to create jobs for young people experiencing homelessness. We thought we had to create the opportunities in-house. The construction for that cafe started in March of 2020. So right after we did all this fundraising, all this work, the permitting process, any small businesses owners out there know that it's, crazy process. And in Boston particularly, it is challenging. We got started and then COVID happened. And we really had to rethink our model because we couldn't open this cafe. We couldn't continue with the construction. And so what we did.
I can't imagine. Having been a business owner and putting all that in. And so to be able to hit that wall, literally, and then figure out a way to pivot, which I know you're going to talk about, is an amazing, I think it's an amazing testament to certainly your passion and belief in what you're doing, but also to, as you tell that story to associates coming through the Breaktime program about, resilience and continuing to pursue and persist. I think it's a great story. So go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was really fueled at the time by the resilience of the young people I was working with, because we had a group of young people that we were going to hire as the first associates at our cafe. And I did not want to have to tell that group of young people that they were going to be out of a job because of this global pandemic. And so within a month of this all happening, my co-founder, Tony, and I, and our small team at the time, which included, it still includes Laura Skinner, another Westborough High School alum, we had to shift. We had to pivot. And what we realized is that there were many opportunities out there for folks to work, especially when the pandemic was starting and all of these industries were being just sort of pummeled and disrupted, and the hiring market was going crazy. We had a labor shortage. There were opportunities for folks to go out and work. We didn't have to create the jobs in-house. We didn't need to create our own cafe. We could partner with other nonprofits and businesses to create employment opportunities within their existing entities. And so we started to do this in the food space. That was sort of the space where we were experiencing a hunger crisis in Boston and all across the state. And so we hired young people to prepare and serve meals to the community. We hired 25 young people that year, which was actually twice as many as we would have been able to hire if we had gone the cafe route. So we quickly pivoted, and we were able to pivot in a successful way that allowed us to increase our impact as an organization. And then moving into 2021, we started to diversify the industries we were in so that we could provide an opportunity for a young person who was interested in healthcare at a hospital, could provide an opportunity for a young person who's interested in opening their own small business, working under a small business owner in the community. And this versatility to our model not only allowed us to meet the interests of our young people and foster those interests, as the support of Westborough allowed me to do as a young person, but this pivot also empowered us to be able to scale a lot more quickly. In 2023, we're looking to serve between 200 and 250 young people this year. We would need over 10 cafes to do that. And so the scale that Breaktime has reached with over 30 full-time people on our staff is a scale that would not have been possible with the cafe model.
It's amazing.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. No, I was just, it's amazing what comes out of, I think, again, kind of reflecting on our business during that time, and it was difficult. There, we're just left and right constantly every day, new challenges being, brought to the table from so many different levels, but yet it created opportunities, and so out of something obviously terrible for the economy, for our social fabric of our communities, you found that kind of nugget of opportunity, if you will, and we're able to really tap into it. And I think it's amazing because it, the springboard that it gave you is certainly was unanticipated, and it could have taken you easily like 5 years or more to kind of get to where you're at, given the type of work that you're doing. Talk to me a little bit about the results that you've produced. Some of the, I've found like the work in terms of the job security, some of your alums and where they're at now. Tell us some of those stories of how this model is actually working after just a few short years, and some of those success stories, please.
Yeah, so in terms of how Breaktime measures our impact, there's really 3 key things we care about: job security, financial security, and ultimately housing security, because we believe that those first 2 are what make housing security possible. And so in terms of job security, after a year after completing the liftoff portion of our program, Breaktime alumni are employed and engaged in school at a rate of 94%, which is well above industry standard, awesome. Industry averages. And what's exciting about that is that number is about 84% right after the program. And instead of having a waning effect the further you get out, because we're continuing through our stable orbit program to provide wraparound support and be in the lives of our young people, we're advancing folks who aren't quite at the stage where they're engaged in work or school towards those outcomes, while also sustaining the impact we had on the folks who were able to reach that outcome. And so that's something I'm really proud of, because it speaks to the innovation of my team at Breaktime and the idea we had just to kind of restructure and reimagine what alumni engagement looks like for a program like ours. Yeah. In terms of financial, sorry, go ahead. I was just
going to say that follows along with, again, your story that we heard about in the first episode, which is, you started in, 5th grade with, an interest, and then there was continued cultivation, encouragement, and support and layers. And so
your vision, your skills, your courage, your grew. And so you're seeing that in your associates as they get their experience out in the workforce and in the community. And I love that they're, you have the numbers to prove that they are continue to be engaged, and they're building their own careers and doing so, by further investing in themselves. So that's just an amazing story.
Thank you. Yeah, and as folks who, teachers who have mentored me over the years know, and definitely a lot of students that I grew up with, math has been something that I've always been really passionate about. And so the numbers behind what we do and the proof and the logic behind why it's working is so important to me. I wouldn't be continuing to do this work if it weren't working, or I'd find another way. Right. But the fact is that the results are there, the numbers are there. And so in terms of financial security, after a year, the average alumni has $3,000 in savings, which for a young person is a transformative level of savings. It allows them in many cases to put down first month's, last month's security deposit, to get housing. It's an anchor of financial security as their life and their cash flow ebbs and flows over time. And it's something that they can build off of and grow off of. Many in our community in Westborough have support from their parents as they get started, have that sort of nest egg where they can lean on the savings their parents have accumulated for them, whether that's through their 529 or whatever.
Yeah. Or even if they don't have a nest egg, they have really, a fallback of, I'm able to take risks, I'm able to do things, I'm able to get the apartment, to then find that opportunity to take that job because I've got support, and your associates don't have that. And so they're doing it for themselves, which is the magic of it.
Yeah. And I certainly had that with my family. They allowed me to take this risk with Breaktime, to not know if I was going to make a salary when I got started. When I was in March of 2020, when we were going through this pivot, I was just finishing college. I'd sort of done an accelerated track to finish early so I could really work on Breaktime full time. And at that time, I was not making a salary. And so I come home to Westborough to live in Westborough during the pandemic and working on this massive project of starting up Breaktime and going through this massive pivot. And, instead of telling me, you got to go and find another job, my parents supported me. We'd go on walks in the woods with my dog, Sammy, every day. They would help me think through the challenges I was facing. They mentored me. They told me they were proud of me every day. And they have done that for years. And I think that's been so important for me. And so our young people don't have that, but if they can see the results of saving, if they can see the results of building credit and what that does for them, and if we can continue as an organization to empower them to believe in themselves, that's what ultimately makes the difference. And so ultimately, the goal of Breaktime is to help people escape homelessness. And so in terms of our final metric, housing security, we find that about 79% of our young people are stably housed after 1 year. And for the 21% who are not, we're still working with them for years to come to get them there. It's not, the average length of homelessness for a young person is 2 years in the state of Massachusetts. So this is not something that can always be solved as quickly. But if we commit to working with people over the long term, we can get them there, and we can get them there more quickly than on average. And so, for me, that's so important. That stat is so important because it speaks to why we do what we do and the power of supporting someone with job and financial security, because ultimately that's what we all need to sustain housing.
Sure. Well, I think this, this has become, we don't, here in Westborough, we may not think about homelessness as being a community issue, if you will. It is. We have individuals who are housing insecure and homeless. And Connor, I'm not sure if you're aware, but recently the state has issued a
an initiative to create emergency assistance housing at the Sharp building, which is over at the former grounds of the Westborough State Hospital. So lots of questions from the community. That will be family housing, and it will be a permanent building. And so there will be, families there, and it has, it's, I don't think as a community we yet fully understand the impact of that here. I'm looking at it as, okay, we have new families coming to our community. What is the opportunity? And I don't mean that in an exploitative way. What is the opportunity for us as a community to embrace these new residents and to engage them? And so that's kind of where I was thinking we could take the conversation in the next kind of couple of minutes that we have here, in that there is significant upside to a community, city, town, what have you, when homelessness is on the decline, or it's, ideally erased. And so how do communities, businesses benefit, from like the work of Breaktime and breaking this cycle? There's a taxpayer benefit. There's, share your thoughts on that, please.
Yeah, there's so many benefits to working together as a community to addressing these challenges. First and foremost, I want to say I'm really proud of the town for moving in this direction, because I think that what that says to our kids and to the students in our school is that we care about and we put our energy behind initiatives that support others in our community, who are disproportionately people of color, who are disproportionately folks who are sort of experiencing intergenerational poverty, that we care about rectifying those challenges. And as a wealthier suburb of Boston, that we're going to stand up and help to rectify some of the issues that, we've, created in some sense by having a town with that's very hard for folks to get into if they don't have the resources. And so I'm really proud of the town for making that space. I think it's going to be huge for our kids and for the students in our schools, and for families to have a more diverse circle of community members and neighbors around them, a community that values support instead of exclusion, that values inclusion, that values diversity. That's, I think, all that this decision represents. And I hope that community members come out in very strong support of this move by the town. In terms of other benefits to addressing the issue of homelessness, if we don't address homelessness at the root, it becomes a chronic issue for folks who then are experiencing chronic health challenges, who are more at risk of developing substance use disorders and severe mental health challenges. First and foremost, on a human level, none of us should want that to happen to anyone. I would venture to say that most of us know folks who are struggling with substance use disorder, know folks that are struggling with mental health challenges. If we know that there are people at high risk of that in our community, we should be doing everything to prevent that, because we know the pain that causes, not only for that individual, but their family, their network, their community, and no one should have to go through that. And from a taxpayer perspective, if you look at the dollars and cents of it, this state is spending between $35,000 and $40,000 a year per person experiencing chronic homelessness on services. That's a number from 2018. So it's actually grown with inflation and the cost of services, healthcare being the major driver there. And so our ability to prevent chronic homelessness saves millions of dollars per person over a lifetime. If you have an 18-year-old who's experiencing homelessness and there's two paths in front of them, a life of stability and a happy and healthy life, and a life of chronic homelessness, not only as a human being should the choice be obvious of what direction to support them in going, but financially, you are going to be spending approximately $2 million or more over their lifetime if you neglect to support them in escaping the path to chronic homelessness. And so I think from a human perspective, an ethical perspective, a values perspective, but also financial perspective, this is a no-brainer. So that's my thoughts on that issue.
Yeah, well, there are a few things in life it seems like there are no-brainers, but I would agree with you. This is one of those, and even at that large multi-million-dollar figure you just shared, that is also work once I'll say and do a process into a person who is already struggling and is headed down a path of extreme difficulty and complications, as opposed to, kind of at the beginning, right, doing the right thing, treating people like we would want to be treated, like I would want to be treated, and giving them, that support, encouragement, et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, it makes sense, but I think sometimes, there's NIMBYism that happens. We could have a whole separate show on that. But there's, I think when folks step back and think about the human element of this, and, if you're a numbers driven person and you said you are, if I'm a business person in town, I think this is great, right? If I have folks that are interested and I can partner with an organization such as a Breaktime, or just, offer employment. I mean, it is difficult to find individuals who want to work at in various industries. So there is absolutely a win-win story here. And I hope that, Westborough will continue to, embrace that. So Connor, what would you like to leave our viewers with? What sort of action, follow-on thoughts? We'll certainly make sure that we share as a closeout, kind of how to follow Breaktime and put up all the contact information for your organization. But what's the takeaway?
Yeah, well, I think first and foremost, I'm grateful to everyone who's watching this. And if you go to www.breaktime.org, you can learn more about our story. You can find ways to support us, connect with us. So first and foremost, I mean, every one of us has different ways to contribute and support the work of organizations like Breaktime. So I encourage you to look more into what we're doing and reach out and or donate to support and fuel our work. I think separately, my story is an example of what the town can do really right, which is to support young people and to foster their love of service, and to give them opportunities to see their privilege and to see the opportunities they have to make a difference in the world. If we want to be a community that does right by our kids, we have to keep books in the library. We have to make sure that all of our young people have access to books that open their eyes to diversity, that open their eyes to mental health, that open their eyes to sexuality. We have to support the institutions that foster the learning and growth of our children, including the library. People like myself are paying attention. I'm proud of the community I'm in, and I'm discouraged by some of the things that are happening, and discouraged by the recent vote to deny renovations to the library, which both financially made sense and are important for our children. So let's not make the mistake of going backwards. Let's support our kids. Let's show our kids what our values are. And let's continue to cultivate the next generation of leaders and public servants. I want to see many more people coming out of Westborough that can create incredible organizations like Breaktime that can have impact in the community. And there are easy ways that we continue to support that, supporting our neighbors, supporting our diverse community, and giving our kids access to the education and the resources that they need to become that next generation of leaders. So I'm proud to be from the town I am. I hope that our town can continue going in the right direction. And I hope that everyone watching can take away from this the importance of exposing our kids to the challenges the world is facing and the opportunities that they have to address those challenges. So thank you so much for the opportunity to speak. And again, thank you to my community. Thank you to Westborough for making all of the things that I'm doing today possible.
Well, it's truly been an honor to have you on as our guest and a two-part guest at that. So thank you so much for your time. Again, for folks interested in following the great work of Breaktime, it's breaktime.org. You can find them on Facebook at Breaktime Boston and on LinkedIn and Twitter. So again, thank you. Thanks to our viewers. And it's been a great conversation. Thank you, Connor.
Thank you so much.